with electricals. So in 2007, I was sourcing electronics for the company, and I was also talking to a lot of people who were importing LEDs. At that time, the only LEDs available in the market were 5mm, which was as an indicator for all the products what you see today.
Nobody in India was investing in the tech at that time.
Because as an architect, I do remember that either you were at a very low segment of availability, or you had to import things. There were 2-3 major players where the brain is something, and then the wiring requires a complicated wiring.
Absolutely.
Then the drivers, when we talk of, we have to have dimmable drivers, non-analog drivers, testing of drivers. LED became it grew so fast at that point of time, but it again had a lot of slowdown in terms of adaptability and availability. Today, I'm thrilled to have two exceptional guests, cousins, Kapil Motwani, founder and MD of Cona Lighting Solutions, known for their unique and customized LED lighting, and Sachin Motwani, founder and director of OSUM Smart Innovations, the only homegrown brand that offers wired automation solutions in India today. When stunning design takes center stage, very less we know what happens behind the curtain. As an architect and designers, we always are often been taken as captain of the ship. But there is a big battalion of army which supports us to get the designs into reality. I'm so glad to have you around.
Thank you for having me.
Please have a seat. Lovely to have you.
Same here.
So let's kick things off by knowing a little bit more about you guys. My grandfather started Cona back in 1968. You both of you come with the legacy of a heritage switch brand. So tell me how this legacy have helped you in building your ventures separate after a while in a separate directions. Can you start, Kapil?
So post college, when we entered into the business, we wanted to bring in something different, something new, keeping the legacy alive, and everybody wanted to branch out into something, but keeping in mind that we are being from the electrical background, using that as a platform, we were talking to a lot of people on how to expand and innovate into electricals or something associated with electricals. So in 2007, I was sourcing electronics for the company, and I was also talking to a lot of people who were importing LEDs. At that time, the only LEDs available in the market were 5mm, which was as an indicator for all the products what you see today. I met a gentleman, and he and we decided, can we put a bunch of LEDs into a module and make it look like a bulb? It was quite far-fetched, because to match the intensity of halogen, that time there were only halogen lamps. Even your
you used to just brighten your eyes and burn your electricity bills like anything.
So, but matching that intensity was totally far-fetched without having any proper support of technology. We said, let's start. And then we made few prototypes, and it was very, to be honest, very crude. But when we showed people and said we can replace it with an halogen, they said it's not possible. We bought a briefcase, leather briefcase, which people used to carry, cut out the whole thing and made our sample bag. We used to roam with that and put an acrylic on top to show, so you can get colors in this. You can replace your existing halogens with this. So they asked for what is the application. The first application, to be honest, was your showpieces, niches, temples, where
Basically, task lights.
task light, but where we wanted to highlight a very small space because we could not have a large number of LEDs. Our mastery was the electronics behind the LEDs, keeping in mind that is glowing constant for the X number of years what we promised, but being cold. No heat, not changing any colors or whatever you're highlighting. Then slowly, gradually, we spoke to few of the jewelers who were very much interested because every time they used to put halogen for the jewelry, the shine used to go off. And every time you polish, they used to waste a couple of milligrams of gold, which was a pain. And then we started talking to the brands which manufactured the LEDs. Can you give us a little higher power? Then I met a gentleman who was into outdoor lighting. He used to manufacture. I gave him my products. I said, can you incorporate this in your outdoor lighting? So that fusion what I created, outdoor lighting with LED, nobody had seen.
Okay.
And I'll be very honest, switches at that time were saturated. So going to any architect and saying I'm from a switch industry was not giving us any entry. But when I said I'm from a lighting industry and we have LEDs with outdoor, so that fusion combination nobody had done and tried. So they used to make me sit, okay, how can we do this? So landscape was one thing where when you're putting that halogen and it used to blow up, wasting a lot of electricity, big drivers. So we were welcomed and that gave us a very big boost and where we are today.
Lovely. Talking about the switches saturation, let's hear it about what was the innovation part that you looked into when the switches came into picture?
So as Kapil said, the switch industry had reached a particular saturation point. Even though there have been minor upgrades in terms of aesthetic in over the last few years, but the basic technology has remained the same. The mechanism has remained the same. The entire tech has been stagnant ever since maybe 40-50 years. In the 90s, we saw the modular switch concept coming to India, and it's only been a huge increase in number of switches in every home. However, in the last 15-20 years, maybe after 5-7 years after we started the LED division, now India has become the largest consumer of LED lights in the world. So with so many lights coming into your homes, one always has to look into how are you going to control these lights. Initially, in a typical living room or a bedroom, you had 2 tube lights and a fan. So your switches would be 2 or 3 switches in a house and maybe a 2-way switch at the entrance working as a master switch. But with now almost 40-50 LED with different task light, cove light, or in a particular living room, how do you control them? You can't have 40-50 switches, even though that's good for our switch industry. But when you look at it as a user, it's not the right way to control. And now every architect, every interior designer is working so hard on the designs. And you know that a lighting can make or break the entire,
Right.
So with proper controls, one could actually highlight so many different factors which brings your imagination into life. So as I said, there was nothing in India. Nobody was working in India for proper controlling, especially of lights. Whatever systems were available were either imported from the Western countries or there was some Chinese, not so durable products which were being sold. And we saw there is a big gap in the market. Now, in India, every consumer was used to paying, say, 20-30 rupees per switch. And when you ask them to spend lakhs and lakhs of rupees for a controller, and again spend another lakhs of rupees just for changing the entire wiring system, which a common electrician wouldn't understand, things didn't really move forward for the industry. Another reason was nobody in India was investing in the tech at that time.
Because as an architect, I do remember that either you were at a very low segment of availability, or you had to import things. There were 2-3 major players where the brain is something, and then the wiring requires a complicated wiring.
Absolutely.
Then the drivers, when we talk of, we have to have dimmable drivers, you know, non-analog drivers, testing of drivers. LED became it grew so fast at that point of time, but it again had a lot of slowdown in terms of adaptability and availability.
Absolutely. So because there was no international brand per se which had its presence in India in terms of a huge team, the whole automation division or the whole automation industry didn't grow as much as it should have in those days. So we figured out why not as a brand, as an Indian legacy brand, we should invest in looking into this particular market. And we were fortunate enough to find the right brains from the industry. There were certain people who were passionate about this particular industry as much as we were, and we hired them and we took them under our company, and slowly and steadily we started making few products. We tried it out. We showcased our first solution in 2015 in one of the biggest exhibition where we had just prototypes, and even with those, all the architects really embraced the the Indian brand, or along with our product. They were very happy to see that, okay, this is such a simple yet solid solution. So that's how we began our journey, and then we started putting in more efforts, putting in more money, time, energy into it, and we're happy to be in this space.
Lovely. So both of you realized that there's a gap in market. Both of you realized that we had to bring in something which can be made locally, which has potential of competing with the foreign brands. And again, so when you make it in India, its availability factor plays a major role in that. About the lighting, can you just put more focus on, because the viewers might be not too well versed with what kind of spectrum that you guys work on, how the lighting designing happens, what are the lux levels required for various spaces, what is the calculation that goes behind the scene when we talk of lighting design, when we talk of automation. It's very simple for everyone to understand that you just put a switch on and switch off, or just play with your whatever phone that you have, the gadgets that you have, which controls the automation. But what is the actual thing that goes behind the scene, where there is a lot of science involved, a lot of physics involved, a lot of study involved. So we start with the lighting and then go to automation on that.
There is basically a international standard what we follow, and where there is a minimum light level which is called the lux level, which is required for a particular place. But when you're talking about a particular market about India, it changes project to project. But we try and at least achieve what is required, and the main important player in this is the architect, because right now, because thanks to the World Wide Web, internet, everything is available at the click of a button. So even he is quite educated, he or she, the architect, and they know, yes, this is what I require. And this is giving a big boost to the lighting industry, because the lighting designers now have a free hand when they are designing, but keeping in mind that the main vision what the architect has, whatever material he's used, has to be beautifully and with proper craftsmanship showcased and made it enhanced much better with the help of lights. At the same time, making sure that there is no light pollution, keeping in mind that the health you have to make sure that you're not wasting any light. Okay, that's again what I said is light pollution, and also you should love
That's
your
a new
space.
term that I've heard today, is light pollution.
Light pollution. It is something which we don't talk about, to be very honest, and it is one of the things which people are going to talk in the future when you're talking about global warming. It is one of the part of global warming aspects. Uh, Light pollution, if you want to see, you can go online, and when the satellite goes over, you should see India on Diwali day. The amount of light which is emitting. Why don't you see stars and why don't you see the planets? Because of the light which is
There's
being
an ambient
thrown.
light which
Yeah,
closes it, the vision of the stars.
Yes, yeah. You would
The
be
rays
like
of
that.
light falling down.
No 2-tier, 3-tier city. In 2-tier, 3-tier city, you can do star grazing or anything. You have to go to remotest place because light is now available and electricity is reaching each and every village, is being used extensively and not properly, wasting electricity as well as the heat which is generated, the components which are used, those are not properly disposed of. So there are a lot of things which we have to bring in and educate our consumers as well as manufacturers in India, that we are also playing a major part when we want to consume, and to make sure that the earth is it's our home. It's basically our home.
It stays a better place to
It
stay.
stays a better place for the future generation. So when you talk about physics and everything, the standard is format. The format standard, it's like basic standard what we follow. But since every project is different, we try and make sure that the client is happy and he loves the space even after 5 years. Yeah, it's like why we are into customization, because for us every customer is different. So we tailor make everything to make him happy and smile when he comes back home after a tiring day of work, or even when he's coming back after a vacation. He should come home and feel like, wow, I'm back in my own space. Yeah. So lighting plays an important role. But again, depending on what project it is, if it's hospitality, now we are also venturing out into healthcare. We are talking to a lot of experts who are helping us manufacture lights, which are going to be used for hospitals, which are going to be used for post-surgery treatment, and for people with Alzheimer's and people with depression. So light therapy is also one of the
It's chromotherapy
it's
that we
chromotherapy,
talk
what
of.
light therapy
It was just restricted to earlier for the showers,
shower.
where you have certain diseases or disorders, you can cure it with the light that falls on you, red, blue, green, purple. So Sachin, tell me, in the world of wireless, we hear it wireless everywhere. What does this wired technology means like?
So wired is obviously decades old. Anything that we connect from a regular switch to your whatever load, whether it's your light or your fan, you know that when you press it, it's going to turn on, right? And now, obviously, the electrical current is still wired as we know it. But when we have many switches and you want to control them together, so we have something called as a one wall, one switch concept, where you just need one panel and it can control multiple things in your house, be it a single story home or a multi-story home. Now, when you want to press a particular button, you should be 100% sure that whatever you want to trigger is getting triggered. Now, with wireless, obviously, wireless is a far easier technology to implement, but unfortunately, the technology worldwide is still not, you can say, 100% reliable, especially in India. Why? Because we have very thick walls. I mean, it's becoming thinner now, but still, compared to any other Western country, we don't have wooden partitions, and we still have thick doors.
Not acceptable.
So there is this tendency in India where we want everything robust, right? We don't want
We make things for 20 years, 25 years.
Absolutely. So with wireless, there is a dependency on that wireless network in your house. you may or may not have the best network in every corner.
Do you get anywhere? In India, at least in Mumbai, I don't get network anywhere worth
Absolutely.
having everything wireless.
Even when you have, say, a 1 lakh rupee iPhone, but if you don't have network, it's useless. So you're dependent on that network. So no matter how good my hardware is, but if your network is, be it a Wi-Fi network, be it a Zigbee network or a BLE network, if that network is not strong enough, your performance is not going to be as good or as reliable. And we want our customers to use this product, without any fear, because anyways, there is this particular tendency in India where people think, oh, automation means complication, right?
I used to think for longer years.
But we want to make things or life easier for the customer, not the other way around. So
tell me one thing, I just want to cut you off here. You make life easier or lazier?
Easier. Definitely easier. This is, many a times we are asked this question that, oh, are you making us lazy? But no, we are making you more efficient.
Ask me, I have clients who wants to sit everything on the bed and do everything. One point of time, he said me, if I can also have a commode next to my bed, I would not even move out of the bed. So that's where I call it as lazier. So what is your motto in a way? You want to make us easier or lazier?
And as I said, we want to make your life more efficient. We want you to enjoy your home the way you want it to be. We want the aesthetics of the house to be, always good the way you or your architect has, had designed it at the time before you were making it. Because now we are using that same space.
I'm architect by myself. I don't have my architect.
Well,
I understood. I got the crux of the story.
So we're using the same space for multiple things. With a click of a button, if your space can transform, that's magical, right? Yeah.
So Kapil, coming to you now, because this is Tost, the other side of the table. Being a designer or an architect, I want to hear from you guys that what are the challenges that you face when we come into picture? Where we always give you gyan of improvising on the technology, on the lighting quality, on the ease of life. But what is that you think that you could reflect back on us that we need to improvise on certain places, or you have some suggestions that when we come with a brief or when we come with certain expectations from you, when we also tell our clients we are not gods, we are human beings, and all that gyan we also give it all across. Some gyan from your ends on this platform where you have liberty of.
See, this is actually a trick question, to be very honest.
It's a controversial question. Don't worry.
Question, but,
I'll take care of the community I belong to.
But honestly, that because of that gap that we try to get into your head and get that vision what you have into reality, we challenge ourselves. Yeah, we try to innovate new products. We get to innovate new products because you've seen it or maybe designed something.
Don't try to be diplomatic here.
I'm not trying to be diplomatic. See, everybody wants the teacher to be happy. It's like, yeah, when
teacher, I thought we were principal.
Yeah, no, when you enter a site and you should actually see the faces of all the vendors and who all are there. Like, how teachers should not pick me.
I just saw a reel when a designer is coming in and everybody's, oh shit.
Because it's like we are working at our own space and like our own thing. But when you are, as an architect enters, and because your eye and your detailing for your project is different. We, want to finish and leave. But when you enter and if you catch something of our thing, and there are 10 other people around us. Yeah. Firstly. Secondly, this is not the only project which we want to work. We want to work for future. Thirdly, we are also learning. Every project is new. Every time we learn something, but at the same time, that should not happen at the cost of the project. So, we want to be smart. We don't want to be over smart. Yeah. But that keeping that, you don't want to cross that boundary.
Sachin is giggling because you are actually not answering the question that I have asked. Let's switch to Sachin only. I think between you, there's a bad guy, good guy, hot, cold, all that is being distributed.
Yeah.
So Sachin, move on.
So
Bring it on.
So I feel we work with so many architects. Many of them obviously can't get into the details of every product that they use. They can't understand the technology behind every, be it plumbing, be it electrical, be it, I mean, you will obviously have an idea, but with technology moving so fast, every architect doesn't really involve or gives his or her time the way we would expect them to be, but then that is asking a bit too much. The problem in India, we feel, is that maybe because your consumers are also used to these last minute changes. After doing so much of planning and then the last minute, your customer or your client
Who
says,
wants a
"Nahi,
commode on the side of the bed?"
whatever, कि हमको अभी ये चाहिए, वो चाहिए," and then that falls on upon us. And then we have to redesign that solution at the last minute. And nobody wants to give that extra cost. Nobody wants to give that extra, compensation for so many hours of planning that has been done. So
Correct.
this is something which is.
But then I think when you say this, by the time we are here talking about it, it's been running since years. Have you found out a solution to it where the last minute change comes and you are ready
Absolutely.
for it?
Absolutely. So we tweaked our solution in such a way that we can now give any kind of solution at any particular time. Even if your wiring is completely done, we can still come into the picture. If you are halfway with your wiring, we can still come into the picture. So
and if the wiring is already done,
yes,
you still come into picture?
Absolutely.
Okay.
So what we have done is actually in our wired solution, we've now added one layer of wireless chip. So we are the world's first hybrid solution. Okay. So we give you the stability of a wired solution with the flexibility of wireless.
Okay. That's rightly put.
So this is something which we learned over the period of years. If we want to do projects in India and we can't change the mindset of the Indian consumer, we need to evolve, we need to change, and yet give a robust solution and adjust to these last minute changes. So this is
again, I would ask that if even I insist in my studio where even all the vendors that we talk of, even the tile vendor, whether it is light vendor or the hardware vendor, we always request them to have at least workshops. So does that really help you when you educate the team of a designer, because a head designer would just give a briefing?
Yeah, but
then,
not every designer is ready to listen.
Okay.
That's again the main.
So here's for the community, all of you, they are ready
because
to.
As I said, they don't probably have the bandwidth to listen to 10 different vendors, and maybe it's difficult for them to even shortlist. Okay, whom should I give time
But
to?
at least ones who are working already with you, like we work on a couple of projects
So
where we are open to. Obviously, that's a problem because there are a lot of vendors and a lot of agencies, and lighting is a subject that everybody is getting into. Automation is a subject that everybody is getting into.
Absolutely.
It's like a new black in the industry where everybody wants to be part of it and indulge into it, but you guys comes with a legacy where you know the technology, you have evolved the technology over the period of time. So these are all technical terms. What are the goofy moments in your R&D per se part of it?
Oh, so many. I mean, we've had moments where we've done the setup and last minute mein kuch chal nahi raha and the client is moving tomorrow, maybe because of some small bugs here and there, or maybe because of some wiring issue. Then all night our senior engineers have had to be on site to figure out, and it could be just a silly mistake.
So what is the scenario when all this happens? Because something like this, because we do F&B, the most weird and the what do you say, false speaking space in a F&B outlet is a kitchen. So is your R&D cells like that?
Not anymore. It used to be a few years before. It used to be like that. But as I said, now we are matured enough, and now we kind of come to know this is what we need to do for the next couple of years. So the R&D is done much before the product is launched, and it's quite stable now. We're happy to say that.
Cool.
Goofy moments when you're talking about, I just want to add, like what we have is when the house is ready, everything is set up, one of the light is not working.
That one light is always there.
But yeah,
Like one member of the family who is not happy.
that is always there.
We
You
had
can't
one-
please everybody, but most of the
We
time
call it
we've-
as Bhabhi moment.
most
our
of the time we've
language.
ended up seeing there is a switch which is like separated from the family, and that is not turned on, but then the blame game starts. Sir, I've never seen the light switched on. I said, light is there, it's working, just find the switch, because when you bring the light down, it's working, but when you put it up, it's not working. And then we found out there's a switch behind the sofa which was
is off.
isolated and is not turned on.
Great. We have a cryptex right out of Da Vinci Code, and it opens with fundamentally only the clues are related to lights. So these are all different types of lights, and first letter of each answer will give you code to unlock the cryptex and win an amazing hamper. And the hamper is really amazing. So let's start with Sachin first. But Kapil, you'll have to excuse us because we can't leak the answer once he completes it. And the one who opens it the faster, there'll be a time clock there. They will man it, and whosoever wins faster, opens it faster, will win the hamper. So let's start with. Are you guys ready?
Sure.
You're ready to start and you're ready to move out.
Right over. I'll see you guys.
So that's for
All
you.
the best.
And these are your questions.
One eternity later.
Yeah, the first one is pendant. Halo.
Yeah, that is also correct.
Torch. These lights are waterproof and used in open areas. Neon. नहीं?
Yes.
Third. That's the third one.
That's the last one.
Ah. And these are the waterproof which
Just read out the entire word. Now kya bana?
photon.
Yeah. That's now you try and open this. Lovely.
How many minutes?
That will announce it. Winner will announce it later.
Okay.
Time starts.
Now, pick up the. Maybe
That's the hello.
yeah, that's correct.
H. Okay. The smallest form of light you can carry on in a pocket, also an avenue, torch. Right?
Correct.
What is the second answer? There's so many lights which are waterproof. You have to be
Something which is in, something which is the opposite of in.
outdoor lights, na?
Ah,
The
correct.
outdoor. Okay, H, hello, and torch.
The first one also starts with something what I'm holding, just to hint you.
Pen,
What do you call it as?
pendant.
Yes.
Oh, okay. So PH dash T dash N.
ओ मिल गया ना आउटडोर
हाँ,
हाँ
Okay.
तो क्या हुआ
photon.
यस करेक्ट
He got it faster. Don't tell me he got it faster.
that will find it out who got it faster कुछ नहीं उसमें हैम्पर उसमें नहीं जाएगा
अरे कुछ तो निकल.
Can we have the hamper? So we have the winner, and out of the Motwani brothers, the winner is sitting next to me as a Sachin Motwani.
I took a lot of time.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
That was good.
Thank you for winning the hamper. But yes, nobody goes empty-handed from here. So there's a small token of appreciation, and we thank you for being here, joining us on this podcast, and that's for you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And you win 2 things.
Thank you so much. It was
It was
amazing.
a pleasure
be-
having you guys
Pleasure.
out here.
Yeah.
See you
Thank you
out
for
there
having us,
soon, and
God
see you soon. Thank you.
Thank you. See you on site.
See you on site.